Good morning. Looking at a album here, a French language album by Carla Bruni. And forgive my pronunciation of some of the words during this because she's French Italian or Italian French. I think she's more Italian than she is French. But the album is called Quelqu'un m'a dit. Quelqu'un m'a dit. Um, French is one of those languages that's hard to pronounce just by looking at it, unless you've studied it, which I haven't. Um, there's all sorts of silent words and words pronounced very differently than you would imagine. But I think this is Kakamadi, which translates into English into "someone told me." So, like I said, this came out in 2003. So, Carla Bruni, she was a model. I think starting from her late teens through her 20s, and a pretty successful model as well. She modeled for all the big fashion houses, brands, etc. She was making. It said on her in her most successful year, she made $7 million, and this was in the 90s. Or maybe that was pounds. 7 million. Let's just say American dollars. $7 million in a year, and in the 90s. That's a pretty successful model. But she quit modeling in her late 20s, I think, and she decided to focus on music. Excuse me. The morning, my throat's always a little bit gurgly. I'm gonna clear it. And so she did. And she went about writing music, and this album is, for the most part, written by her. There's a few songs where she has a writing partner, or she covers songs. She covers a Serge Gainsbourg song, I think. She does, yes. And it's not a bad album. It's of that, what's that? The French word for song, chanson, which I think just directly translates to song. But but it, when you think of when you think of that traditional French chanson, you think of often a guy singing with an accordion and a guitar, maybe. Um, Sometimes quite simple, stripped back orchestration, instrumentation, and that's what this sounds like. It's in the vein of that. Actually, I don't think she has any accordion on this. I think it's just the majority of just her voice and the guitar. Sometimes there's a little bit of a backing band, but not much. So it's kind of almost, yeah, folk chanson. Because some of those French chansons do have more band, like Jacques Brel. Is he Belgian? But it's pretty simplistic, and I don't mean that in a bad way. He is Belgian, Jacques Brel, but I think he's from the south of Belgium, was that Walloon or Flemish? Is Flemish the north? I think Flemish speak Dutch, and Walloon speak French. It's kind of split down the middle in Belgium, and I think there's a few Belgian singers. What was that other guy who sung the song on the Science of Sleep soundtrack? Catorces. What's his name? I think he's Belgian as well, and sings in French. Anyway, off track here. This isn't a bad album. I think it's pretty good. When you hear the word semi-famous model quits to record album, you don't have the highest hopes, but I think she outdid expectations. Quelqu'un m'a dit. So 12 songs. Um, there she is. So, like I said, she's Italian French. She's the daughter of a famous Italian concert pianist and a famous Italian industrialist. So she probably didn't have a difficult start in life, to be honest. But she both her parents have got Wikipedia pages. There was a there's a something I was reading that was like you can tell it was something about indie musicians and how so this is not about her, but something about how so many indie musicians they kind of portray themselves as kind of like a man with a guitar just who wants to sing a song. But then if you do a little bit of research, you find out many of them come from like trust fund families, like from very wealthy families. And there says there's a game where you go through the indie musician and find how many family members are blue on Wikipedia, because if it's a blue name or a blue word, it means it has its own article you can link to. Um, and that was kind of funny. I thought that, it's amazing how many musicians do come from absolutely nothing and do it through the sheer talent and hard work. But then there's a lot of musicians that actually have connections. And even if it's not like the person helped them get a deal, it's like just coming from that world, being part of that world. You kind of, I don't know, maybe it makes it feel more natural to you. Like I'm reading Anthony Kiedis's biography, and Cher, as in Sonny and Cher, used to babysit him when he was a kid, when he was living in LA. Anyway, I think yeah, this album's pretty good. So the thing with the having French names in the songs, it kind of makes them all kind of blend together a bit. And when I try to record them, it's not so hard. The album title song, the first one, Quelqu'un, that's kind of a nice flowing song. Uh, her with a guitar. I think there's a little bit of strings added to that in the background. Raphael, apparently she sung that about a lover of hers who was a famous philosopher. French, eh? Um, she's actually had a fair few famous. I think she dated Mick Jagger, Eric Clapton, because I know she dated Eric Clapton because I read his biography and he talked about her quite often. At part of it, I think it was like the early '90s, and then of course she's gone on to marry Nicolas Sarkozy, the former French president. Don't know what he does nowadays, but he was the French president. So she's been up there with a some famous men. Uh, Tout le monde. Uh, Again, quite a simple song. Her the guitar. La Nuit that's the Serge Gainsborough um, cover. So that one's got a little bit more to it, a little bit more instrumentation it from memory. Um, Number 7, Connais, Jean Connais, Connais. That I like that song. That song's got a bit more swing to it. The way that she plays the guitar, she kind of slaps the guitar. It gives it a kind of swing. I like that song. Chanson triste, sad song. My two favorite songs are number 10 and 12, La Excessive and La something minute. So excessive, number 10, which is the English word, obviously. That's just her, the guitar, but there's more. I think there's like also like kind of a electric guitar in it as well, or multiple guitars. I'm trying to like go back in my memory with the sound of it. It's a good song though. She's got a very, if imagine someone said to you, a French model is making an album and she's singing. Imagine the voice you think of in your mind of a French model singing. That's what she sounds like. It's pretty much what you would imagine, as in her voice. It's got a kind of, I guess, what you call a sexiness to her voice, kind of like a very, I don't know the word to describe voices, but like that. And then the last song, the minute one, La Dernière Minute, is just 1 minute. It's a song that's 1 minute. And that one's just, there's a metronome tick-tocking from the start of it, I guess kind of indicating the counting of a minute. And it's just her, and she kind of sings between guitar chords. That's a terrible explanation, but if you listen to it, you'll know what I mean. A very simple song, but I think quite a cool. song. She sings quite fast as well, kind of like almost like trying to get it all done within a minute. So yeah, I haven't actually listened to this album in a long time, but from time to time, I do listen to it. I think it's a good album. It it's just, yeah, a simple singer songwriter with a little bit of a French flair, I guess. But it's not bad at all. It's not bad music. It's, I guess it's too simple to be bad, and she has maybe too much talent for it to be bad. She's got like a good voice. She's a good simplistic songwriter. I don't know about the lyrics because she's singing in French, but yeah. So the condition's fine. Like I said, 50 cents. You see this around from time to time. This sold 2 million copies worldwide. So it was relatively successful, as in 1.2 million of those, however, were in France. So, um, you know, that's where obviously her popularity lies. And then I think she got to number one in a few European countries. So we see you got number one in Belgium, number one in France. Okay, only those two. And number four in Switzerland, number five in Portugal, number four in Italy, and number three on the US World Albums chart, number 14 in Germany, 28 in Austria. Sorry, not Austria, in Canada, 27 in Austria. So my point is that she has, hey, look at this. Belgium has got two album charts. They got the Flanders albums chart and the Wallonia album chart. That's what I was saying. So Wallonia is the French-speaking portion of the country, and Flanders is the Dutch-speaking portion of the country. I don't know how different those languages are. Like if Wallonian French, how varied it is from other French. Like, does it have extra words, or does the grammar differ, or is there I'm sure there's an accent. And same goes for Flemish. I wonder if it's how different from Dutch that is. But yeah, they got two charts. They got to number 9 in Flanders and number 1 in Wallonia. So even the Flemish appreciated the album. Um, what I noticed here is that, so the album, what do you call it? It's got multiple labels. We've got SBS, Shock, Naive, V2, SPPF, and FCM. And God, I don't know why I have so many things. And then here it says SBS Weather Watch. This is just a guess. Does that mean it was used on, is Weather Watch a weather channel on TV, like the Weather Channel? I'm going to quickly, SBS Weather Watch. Oh, there it's on Google. Let's have a look. Oh, no. Looks like, sorry, I'm wrong. It is a label. It's got nothing to do with the weather. All right, it's a label. So yeah, I'd give this a 7 out of 10. Maybe 6.5, because it is a bit one note, because it's just a girl and a guitar. But it's boring. I don't know. But yeah, it does what it wants to do. And she actually released albums subsequently to this. I guess she's still recording. No Promises in 2007, something in 2008. Of course, when she married Sarkozy, I guess that kind of put a pause on her career to an extent, and it would have made it harder as well, because now she is, when you marry a politician, you're always going to have then a segment of the society who just loathe you, because you're connected to that guy or that girl. So imagine if you were like whatever. Imagine if Donald Trump's wife, if she was a singer. I know she's not, but if she was, she actually looks a little bit like her. Not there, but if you see some more recent photos of Carla Bruni, she actually has that kind of high cheekbone look of what's Donald Trump's wife's name? Melania. Melania Trump. Imagine if Melania Trump um, decided to start recording traditional, was it Slovenian music? I guess she would make a certain number of album sales from Trump fans, but then she would just be absolutely derided and down thumbed on every video by the people who dislike Donald Trump. And yeah, this Carla Bruni is probably forever tied to Sarkozy. And I don't know how people feel about Sarkozy, but knowing the French, there would be a certain amount of people who don't like him because they seem to be pretty passionate about their politics over there, as we've seen recently with the pension age reform and the Paris is burning, as per usual. So her last album was 2017, The French Touch, and I noticed that her subsequent albums, especially the last two or the last one, she's giving English titles, and it looks like she's done covers. Enjoy the Silence, Crazy featuring Willie Nelson, Highway to Hell. She's doing AC/DC, Stand By Your Man, Moon River. Wow, she's really going for some of the old standards. I'd like to hear what she does for Enjoy the Silence. Enjoy the Silence is one of my favorite songs ever. I actually learned how to play that on guitar the other night. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Carla Bruni, Quelqu'un m'a dit. Quelqu'un m'a dit. Quelqu'un m'a dit. Thank you very much.